Hello YouTube, it's Lion here with Hobbies of a Man once again, and today we are doing another comic book by the issue, comic review by the issue. Still haven't figured out what name to call it, I don't know. But today we're looking at Dark Ages issue 2. This is Marvel Dark Ages. I did a video about it already, the first one in this series. It's written by Tom Taylor, the artist by Ivan Coelho, and the inks, I think, are done by Brian Reber. So if you want to watch the first video, you guys can go right there. And I'm going to do this in the same way that I do my Kaiju number 8 chapter reviews, if you guys have seen those. So I have a little news segment and a little recap segment, and then I have the actual review. But before we get into that, two things. First of all, if you're a regular viewer and you're watching this, I do apologize for the quite inconsistent uploading schedule this week. I've had a lot of stuff going on and not much desire to do YouTube this week, mostly because I've been like emotionally and physically tired due to university exams, because exams suck ass and they really drain you. So I do apologize for that if you're a regular viewer. And the second thing that I wanted to ask or tell you guys is actually a question here. I have noticed that this aspect of the channel hasn't really gone as well as I thought it would go. So how can I make these videos a little bit more interesting so that you guys want to watch them? I'm not gonna do the like panel slideshow thing that a lot of other channels do, mostly because that takes a lot more time than how I'm doing it now, but also because I don't think it's fair to do it for comic books and not for manga. And I can't do it for manga because Japanese companies are a lot more ready to ban you and kind of like ruin your channel if you show off too many panels than comic books. So I can't really do that, and I don't think it's necessary. I just need to find a way to make it more interesting. So if you guys know any way to do that, let me know down below. So let's get into it. The variant cover for issue 3 has already been shown. That's kind of the start of the news section here. And Tom Taylor has been revving up a lot of his kind of, what's it called? His news cycle, his advertising cycle for Dark Knights of Steel, which is another series that I'm going to do a comic book by the issue review on, because I've been wanting that one for quite a while. It looks really awesome. It's kind of like Game of Thrones meets DC. Very, very interesting. But that's kind of like the news segment here. It doesn't really necessarily have to do with our Dark Ages, but it does have to do with Tom Taylor. So there you go. Now the recap from the previous chapter is basically that this new character, or I think he's new, enters the fray. His name is the Unmaker, and he's this giant black hole sucking machine that was created at the beginning of the universe in order to kind of stop the universe from imploding, right? However, it wakes up, it turned out to turn evil from sucking up so much dark energy from the black holes, I guess. And then it wakes up, it was encased in the earth, and now the Avengers had to, or not the Avengers necessarily, but like all of the heroes, specifically all of the ones that seem to be centered in New York, put together a team, went down to the center of the earth to try to fight the Unmaker. However, the Unmaker was way too strong for them, and Doctor Strange did the only thing that he could think of that was going to help solve this issue, and he called in an EMP blast from a different universe that shut down the Unmaker. However, he was killed before he could turn off the portal, so the EMP managed to cover the whole world. And now the Dark Ages are upon us. So what happens is that electricity no longer works. A lot of people end up dying, and Sabanur, that guy, wants that power, and so he's gonna, do evil things in order to get it, and that's basically where it ends up. So yeah, let's get into the review discussion of this issue. So we're back at the EMP moment right afterwards, and apparently it's the heroes and villains are all kind of fighting with each other, but also with regular people as far as it seems, and everyone's just really dying left and right. But slowly this kind of message comes across everyone, and it's that it doesn't have to be this way, that life can get better in these trying times as long as everyone works together, which is actually quite a nice message, and kind of is poignant to COVID and the way that we did not handle the pandemic, and kind of could have been a better way of doing it, but I think it's quite good. And basically, we have Peter, continuing to expose, talk of the. He's telling us what's going on, right? And he's basically like, yeah, we managed to not turn this post-apocalyptic world into some sort of like Mad Max kind of shithole. So that's kind of where that ends. We get to see that Black Panther and I don't know, a bunch of different characters are kind of communicating with people and telling them that it's okay, we can work together. And then the scene shifts, and we get to see May, Peter's daughter, and Peter swinging across these very large trees. I don't know how how these trees got so big over such a small period of time. They're swinging through some trees, and it looks like May is training to be a spider person, right? A member of the spider family, or the spider crime fighting group. And she's kind of hooting and hollering, really enjoying her time. And then Peter catches her, and it looks like they were training by doing a kind of like chase game, like a game of tag or something. And she's kind of like mad that he caught her, but he's like, well, you said woo, and you were yelling and hooting and hollering, so of course I was gonna catch you. That was like too easy. And then May comes up and she's like, hey, it's time to go home. And Peter's like, okay, I'll do that. Let me just spin some more webs, because he can't do technology anymore, so he has to find a different way of doing it. And eventually we kind of get around to this kind of idea that the post-apocalyptic world actually ended up being a nice place to raise a family. And there's these thriving centers of human civilization that are connected by the world's strongest telepaths. So we see Xavier, and then we see Jean Grey and some other telepaths across the world kind of doing stuff together. And of course Wakanda ends up being the capital of the world, since they were the most technologically advanced, and they seem to have been the only country that kind of managed to survive, because they're built on top of a bedrock of like this foundation of vibranium. So that kind of seems to be what happened there. And it looks like the best scientists of the world and the best brainiac superheroes have started to work together to overcome this EMP issue, and to kind of find a way to overcome this. We get to see some characters kind of playing around with chemoluminescence, or light from chemical reactions, which I'm not exactly sure how that's like how different that can truly be from like electromagnetic kind of technology. But I guess like fire is a chemical chemically created light source. So if you can find other ways to do that, you can kind of make it work. But I don't know, the only other light source of that sort that I can think of is like glow sticks, and I guess that makes good lighting, but like I'm pretty sure that's a lot more dangerous than electromagnetically created electricity and stuff like that. So I don't know, but I thought it was interesting that they managed to make something work, right? And they also kind of show us that in order to protect people, because now that technology has regressed so much, things that used to go bump in the night that kind of got hidden away with the industrial age seem to come back. So vampires, werewolves, and these kind of evil creatures come back into the world. And in order to protect all of the places, they needed to create these alarm systems based around Spider-Man's webs. And then we get to see Daredevil and Foggy and the Wolverines and Blade, and this lady that I found out is called Elsa Bloodstone fight some vampires and werewolves as they kind of try to jump into wherever it is that Peter lives. I guess someplace near New York. And it's pretty interesting. I like the X-23 Wolverine, and there's another character there that also had like a Wolverine outfit. I think they were Honey Badger. They had like a single claw, and they put like a piece of wood on top of it, so it was like they had stakes on their hands instead of like claws, which I thought was pretty funny and pretty ingenious. And yeah, it was pretty interesting. So I quite like that a lot, actually. And then we get another scene shift, and we end up with Pepper and Tony Stark. They're in this cave, which I guess is Tony Stark's lab. It's reminiscent of the cave where he created his arc reactor in the MCU, which I thought was pretty cool. And Captain America shows up. He's kind of grizzled. He kind of shows up in a very similar way to how he shows up in Avengers Endgame, I think. Like with the train, and then he just shows up, and the music swells, and he walks in with his beard, and he looks really rugged and badass. It was very, very similar to that, but of course in the comics he looks a little bit older, so it's kind of interesting. He shows up, and he's like having a nice moment there, and Captain America wants Tony to join him in this battle in Europe somewhere, because apparently it seems like Ensabanur has taken over the continent of Europe, and people are trying to fight against him, but it's not really working because he's like Apocalypse, and he has like hella superpowers all over the fucking place. And Cap wants to enlist Iron Man to fight the good fight and stuff like that. And it turns out it's a trick. Mystique was actually impersonating Captain America. She revealed herself in a very badass fashion. I thought she looked really great. The art style of Ivan Coelho really conveyed Mystique's kind of like femme fatale sexualness with like her sensualness, with like her very kind of badass like moment there where she tricks Tony Stark in a very fun way. I thought it was really, really good. It turns out it's a trick, and Sabanor is teaming up with Dracula, and they're kind of working together in order to kind of return the world to how it was. And they need Iron Man because they need a scientist kind of character, right? And so Iron Man gets taken away to the Louvre. Apparently, it's like the three little glass pyramids are there. So I'm guessing it's the Louvre in Paris. And Sabanor gives this whole bad guy speech about how it's time to make the world evolve once again and to bring back electricity. And then they walk into this place in the Louvre where there's electricity. There's these giant, what do I call it? Like Einstein balls? No, that's not the right word. Tesla coils? No, that's not either. It's like those balls where they have like a light bulb in the middle, and they make like zappity electricity appear across the ball. I can't remember what they're called, but there's like 3 of them, and they look really interesting, and it's like old school electricity, not like modern electricity. And it's pretty interesting, and Tony Stark is super surprised, and then Sabanor is like, yeah, how do you think we did it? Basically, it's a giant Faraday cage, which is a insulated area where things from outside can't come in, but of course things from inside can't come out either. And it's kind of like stopping the EMP wave from passing through, right? But Tony Stark is like, yeah, but you have to have a very large amount of magnetic force in order for this Faraday cage to work. Turns out that Magneto is strapped to this machine kind of catatonically, and he's what's called kind of powering this Faraday cage, which is very, very interesting. And then this guy, the Purple Man, I've never heard of them, kind of takes over Iron Man's brain, and that's where the ominous ending happens. Overall, I thought it was a very good issue. I really enjoyed it. I don't think I enjoyed it as much as the first one. The first one really captivated me and very interested in the story, I guess. It made me very interested in the story. This one continued, and I thought it was pretty good, but it did feel like that exposition-heavy connective tissue between issues, right? And of course, I'm kind of annoyed that we getting teased this Miles Morales Venom symbiote kind of situation, but he hasn't shown up yet, and I really want him to show up because this is really why I picked this up, right? But overall, I think it's very cool. I think next chapter is when we will have actually the situation that we saw at the end of of issue 1, where what's it called? Where Spider-Man gets confronted by Enso Banor and Iron Man and Miles Morales, Venom, and stuff like that. So I'm really looking forward to this, and yeah, that's all I have for you guys. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please leave a like, subscribe, and comment down below. Let me know what you guys thought. And if you guys want to support me monetarily, I do have a coffee now, so please do check it out down in the description. And yeah, see you guys later.